Even though there was no race this weekend, the Formula 1 Soap Saga continued. This time, our 7-time championship winner is in the spotlights. Lewis. No, not you. Lewis. No, damn it. Lewis. Yeah, you. Looking at his performance so far, is it Mercedes that has a shitty car, or is Lewis losing its glory? Will we ever see Hammer Time again? Mercedes was confident they could keep Hamilton in his seat, in the marriage. But as we all know, Hamilton filed for divorce a couple of weeks ago. However, Lewis's move to Ferrari comes back to bite him in the ass, as he is forced to adapt to a new working culture in which he cannot bring his race engineer and close friend Peter Bonington due to a non-poaching clause in this existing Mercedes contract. As the move to Ferrari will not take place before the 2025 season, we are stuck with the current 2024 soap opera. F1's golden boy Hamilton said he would end his last year with Mercedes on a high note. I think we can better say, with many complaints. Mercedes, a team that once showered him with victories and titles like he was the chosen one, turned into a tragic comedy. Hamilton lost faith in his metallic buddy since he hasn't won a Grand Prix since 2021. Is this the downfall of Toto or Lewis, or is the peanut butter jelly not spreading like they used to? Only a few months ago, Lewis shared that he counted down the days until he no longer had to drive the frustrating 2023 Mercedes car. Well, that aged well.
Then we get in the car in 2023 and it's the evil sister. Damn.
The W15 doesn't seem a lot better. This is what we know so far. Looking back at the 2 seasons Hamilton and Russell have been teammates, it is super clear that Hamilton has been the better driver, but he has also been the driver that complains the most, while Russell is a pretty positive bloke. Mercedes opted for a unique zero side pod philosophy for the 2022 campaign, an approach they persisted with at the start of 2023, but lost massive ground to pace setters Red Bull. Seeing the W15 must have scared Hamilton away into the arms of Ferrari. Alright Lewis, this is what our new engine block looks like, and I made the modifications to the pedals you wanted. Grazie. What was that? Mega job guys. Still, we rise. Let's get it. Last year was particularly difficult, with Mercedes enduring their first winless season since 2011, and in season 6 of Netflix's hit F1 docuseries, Hamilton explained how his initial concerns were ignored by the team.
Last year, the development of the car, you weren't happy with me.
Yeah.
You know, sticking to the concept from last year, holding on to it because of the encouraging results at the end.
That's the biggest failure.
It's the biggest failure.
Yeah. Because last year led us in the wrong,
Yeah.
Hamilton remembered complaining to the team saying, look, we have to make these changes, otherwise this is the trajectory we're going to go on and this is where we're going to end up. But the engineers responded to Lewis as if they didn't know what he was saying, and he was wrong. Hamilton shared he stepped back from that moment as he didn't want to step on anybody's toes. But when he got into this season, his engineers told him, oh, maybe you were right. Oopsie poopsie Toto Wolfie. If you weren't so busy trying to annoy Red Bull, you actually drove... scared Lewis away. Okay, so the complaining isn't something from the last few races. It started in the year Max became champion, and the first time and budget caps were introduced. That explains a lot. The world watched when the oh-so-dominant Mercedes wasn't so dominant anymore after these budget caps. Fast forward to this season, looking at performance, not a lot has changed in the last 3 years. Max in first, Ferrari doing shit, and Hamilton stuck in the midfield. What happened with Hamilton so far this season? Let's start with the Bahrain GP a few weeks ago. Russell seemed much happier with the car than Lewis was, where Lewis was pointing out numerous problems with the car's performance. George was parting the Red Sea in 1250 BC. He said he would have fought for a podium place if it wasn't for cooling problems. Mercedes only has the 5th fastest car, and as you can understand, this doesn't make Hamilton very happy. This season of As the Mercedes Turns was meant to be a fresh start for Mercedes, one where it would eliminate the Achilles heel that held it back time and time again in Formula 1's new ground effect era. After 2 years of struggling, Mercedes produced an overhauled 2024 car, one team principal Toto Wolff insisted was a good foundation to build on. Hamilton was excited to drive a car he was more confident with compared to last year, until he wasn't anymore after practice. But it still hasn't got on top of one of the key challenges of these ground effect cars, hitting problems that are all too familiar, one of them being the bouncy cars. The F1 drama never ends, does it? A former technical director, Anderson, dropped his thoughts in the Telegraph, suggesting maybe Hamilton doesn't have the full picture of what it takes to make a car fly in today's F1 scene. According to him, Hamilton's looking at the car's surface and missing the real magic happening under the floor. He kinda hinted that Hamilton's wish for a Red Bull lookalike Mercedes isn't the golden ticket. It's clear the team's still in trial and error phase, with both drivers trying different setups, hoping for that magic fix. But Anderson's not convinced that's going to cut it. He's basically saying, guys, it's time for a reality check. During the first rounds in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, Mercedes seemed to be on the right track initially, but then lost their spark as the weekend went on. Anderson thinks they might be giving themselves a false sense of security by running the car lighter on practice days. But when push comes to shove, they're trailing behind, even finishing a good chunk of time behind Verstappen in Jeddah. And let's not forget the bouncing issue that's made a comeback. It's like a bad sequel no one asked for. Mercedes can't seem to get the hang of managing the car's underfloor aerodynamics, which is pretty crucial in avoiding the bounce. Meanwhile, McLaren's car is practically hugging the track without making a fuss, showing it's possible to get it right. Hamilton also had a bit of a moment with the car's loose rear end, especially around Jeddah's speedy turns. Despite efforts to fix the spiteful rear of previous models, it seems like the ghost of cars past is still haunting them. Hamilton's not feeling the rear wing vibe, making the McLaren feel like it's in a whole different league. Anderson's pointing out that Mercedes needs to find that sweet spot between grip in slow corners and stability in the fast ones, but it's like they're walking a tightrope. What Mercedes and Hamilton are dreaming of is a game-changing upgrade like McLaren pulled off last year, jumping ahead to become Red Bull's main rival. From what I've seen and read so far, I feel that Lewis isn't putting in everything he has with a car that isn't giving him everything he wants. Not sure if going to Ferrari will give him a car that suits his wishes.
It's terrible. Drives like a pig.
Oh, you can't say that.
Why not?
It's a Ferrari.
It's a shitbox. It understeers like crazy and the wet distribution is a disaster. It's amazing. All these facilities and you make a piece of crap like this.
What do you think? Is Hamilton still at the peak of his performance, or is the Hamilton era over? Or is something else going on with Mercedes or Hamilton? Share your thoughts in the comments.